this part was very interesting to me. Once you're aware of all these three, they all become joined into one phenomenon. And when all these three are one, functioning together perfectly, humming together, you can feel the music of all three. They have become an orchestra. Then the fourth happens. That which you cannot do, it happens on its own accord. It's a gift from the whole. It's a reward for those who have done all these three. That is very interesting for me. I feel like that is very, like, they have become one. You cannot do this fourth step. It's something, it's not the doing, like it's something, like it feels like more like a surrendering, like when all of these things are happening and you are not like trying to reach somewhere, then the fourth happens. Then like you so I think it's important to remember that, like in our practice as well, that actually we are always what we are looking for, like constantly. It's just that like our perception is not really there yet of what we are. So it's important that really practicing as well, that we're not going somewhere, that there's not a goal. The goal is actually just to see ourselves clearly, and that happens in surrender when we stop trying to get somewhere else. I think it makes sense because that's what the mind latches onto. No, everything that is material, everything that we can touch, is much easier to be like connected to rather than something we can't see or feel yet. Um, so, but that's, I mean, that is why we want. That is why there is like a yoga practice or a meditation, because that is what happens when we do practice. That we get more and more attuned. Like our mind gets more aware of subtleness in life, in ourself, and the absolute most subtle part of ourself is what you were talking about, that nothingness, that which we actually will come from. That I feel like that is the tiniest vibration that we can experience with our mind.
I'm confused a little bit where it says the next step is
Yeah, me
emotional
too.
moods.
Yeah, me too,
But
because
yeah.
what I thought that actually emotions and moods would be like before thoughts, because thoughts for me are much more subtle than my emotions and moods. Like I feel my emotions much stronger than 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 my thoughts. Do you understand what I mean? Like,
Yes, I agree.
and also that
Mm.
I feel like my moods and emotions spring from my thoughts usually. That
Uh-huh.
as in, like, I have a thought and then I feel anxious, or I have a thought and then I feel judgment. I have a thought, you know, like I feel like the thinking, for me at least in my experience, is the thinking, the the thought moves the emotion, and not, unless it's like something's like some like suppressed emotions. If there's like a suppressed emotion in your body, I feel like there is just an emotion that doesn't have to connect to any kind of thought. but,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
otherwise for me, there's usually a thought that comes up and then my reaction is the emotion towards that thought, like anxiety, for example, if it's something in the future, or like um, uh, yeah, whatever it might be, you know what I mean. Hmm.
Yeah. I think that's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, because if you have a
Hmm.
feeling and your body's gotten so accustomed to that feeling, you're
Hmm.
going to attract those thoughts and start thinking in that way because of that. You're so used to that. And if you're thinking those thoughts, you're going to create those feelings in your body. So it's like this
Just
cyclical
like,
thing
yeah. Hmm.
of like, yeah. And if you're looking to change it, like working with either one to start, because I mean, like attracts like, the more you're feeling the sensation of anxiety, you're going to search for things subconsciously that create more anxiety for you. Right.
Hmm.
And then that feeling still happens. And then it's like, I think I think that's why thoughts are the first layer, because you can become aware of the thoughts that you've been constantly thinking to create
Hmm.
that anxiety,
Hmm.
to for that anxiety to manifest. So like being aware of it, like, okay, these are the thoughts that's constantly running in the back
Hmm.
of my mind. Um, so it's an interesting, like, which one came first when
Hmm.
we're babies, you know?
Hmm.
The body is something that we can touch, is right here, is in this physical form. So um, it's a little bit, I think for me personally, it would be a little bit easier to be more aware of my just my physical body. And of course, okay, of course you know there's a whole lot of other things going on in the background, your thoughts, your emotions, your everything. But if you have to focus in one thing, if we're practicing concentration in order to get to through all these levels, if you're focusing on your physical body, you maybe don't need the answers right now. So like what Oge was saying, if somebody else is Oge, obviously you are way more, you meditate a lot more. So but somebody who was having a similar feeling in their body, which we do all the time and we just ignore them. If we were to just be aware of, oh, I'm feeling this in my body, or this, I feel this, like, I don't know, butterflies in my gut or whatever. And just observe it, but just be aware of whatever it is that is manifesting in that way. And you become good enough to notice all the subtle things in your body, then I can understand why he says, okay, now go to the next level. I'm still with you guys on like the thoughts and emotions. Yeah, my next one would be thoughts, which I don't know if he said, but anyway, I think the next one for me would be definitely thoughts. But that's what I mean. I think for the majority of people, we need help in just focusing on one thing. And to focus on something abstract to begin with is a challenge for most people, I think, in this world. We need to feel it physically first.
Yeah, that I
Um,
think that's the reason why yoga moves in that way. You start with your body, you move your body, and you're getting in touch with your body firstly before moving further into like breath, because
uh-huh.
breath is again more subtle than body sensations, and then going to like concentration, which is like focusing on your thought, or like becoming aware of your thoughts. And
Yeah, I think it's almost like a puzzle. Like you start to put the pieces together. You start with your body, and when you start with your body, at least from my experience, I remember feeling a lot of things, but I had no answer. I was like, but why?
mhm,
I don't understand why I'm feeling this. I just know that I'm feeling this here. And then you go into your thoughts and you observe your thoughts. Oh, this thought is this, but you still don't have many answers. And the deeper you go into the levels, the more you start to understand, oh, so this emotion, so this thought triggered this emotion, and then this triggered this feeling in my body
mhm,
is, yeah,
mhm,
I think that well, this is what that's how I'm interpreting the steps that he's explaining, in that you go little by little and you start to find the answers as you go.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And until you just they happen, and you understand all three levels at once, like.
Like when you start with something, other things fall to place automatically. Like when you start to tune into your body, like your mind also slowly start to tune into itself. Things like that. I think that happens naturally, automatically when awareness is being practiced.